Good.
Okay. Chaz, ¿es el Spanglish un language de verdad? ¿Quiénes son las people que usan ese language? En tu opinión, ¿por qué se usa el Spanglish en United States y other countries?
Sí, yo pienso que Spanglish es un idioma de verdad, or its own language. Las personas que hablan Spanglish, que yo veo frecuentemente, están en la clase de español. Especialmente porque muchas personas en clases de español, como yo, no son fluent in Spanish, like completely fluent. Entonces se usa Spanglish. Sí. Y yo pienso que personas que hablan español en su casa y inglés en su escuela o trabajo, probablemente se usa Spanglish mucho, yo creo. Y yo pienso que se usa Spanglish como un bridge entre de español y inglés. Y one of the ventajas de speaking English is se utiliza idioms y frases y partes de la cultura de ambos idiomas en Spanglish. ¿Y tú, Demi, qué piensas?
Sí, yo creo que Spanglish es un lenguaje de verdad. Las personas que usan ese lenguaje son personas que están aprendiendo español o inglés muchas veces. Y creo que se usa el Spanglish en los Estados Unidos y otros países para comunicar las palabras o las frases que no sabe cómo decir. It's a good point what you said about like people who speak English at school but Spanish at home. I'm sure that's something a lot of people, like kids, struggle with, or just have the ability to just mix up both languages so easily. Sí, hablo Spanglish mucho y típicamente cuando estoy tratando un cuento o explicar algo a una persona que habla español o inglés también. ¿Y Rebecca?
Sí, y también yo uso Spanglish mucho, pero en términos del mundo realidad, el Spanglish es no idioma, ¿verdad? Porque mucho, porque es not, but a lot of, pero mucha gente en todo el mundo usa el idioma porque es muy popular. Los usuarios más comunes del idioma Spanglish se encuentran en los Estados Unidos con una mezcla de diferentes culturas. El Spanglish se usa como un medio entre inglés y español. Like, it was what you guys were talking about, how like it's a bridge, because it is. Se usa como puente de comunicación, un puente que muestra las conexiones entre los dos idiomas diferentes, dos idiomas que se diferentes culturas. Sin embargo, por ejemplo, los hispanoamericanos a veces se encuentran en dicho punto entre los dos idiomas y el Spanglish puede usarse para que dichas personas muestran conexiones. Like, it allows someone to touch both cultures. It allows communication. It allows someone to try and understand the people around them. Chaz, do you speak Spanglish a veces? Why would an angloparlante speak el Spanglish? Y un Spanish speaker, ¿en qué contextos se usa el Spanglish? Es una ventaja de saber manejar manejar el Spanglish. How is the Spanglish relacionado con la translation y interpretation?
A little switching between the two, huh?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Entonces, yo hablo Spanglish muchas veces porque, like I said, no estoy totally fluent en español. Entonces, yo hablo español, pero a veces hay palabras de inglés con mi español, entonces es Spanglish. Yo creo que un angloparlante usaría cuando habla español, pero no sabe unas palabras en español. Entonces ellos pueden usar unas palabras en inglés, como una mezcla de inglés y español para hacer Spanglish. Y también con un hispanohablante. Un hispanohablante usaría Spanglish para Eurozone igual, pero vice versa. Spanglish usa en el texto donde inglés y español son importantes a la conversación. Cuando ambos idiomas I guess are needed. Y yo pienso que saber Spanglish es importante, especialmente en los Estados Unidos, porque es muy común aquí y se usa Spanglish en la translación e interpretación también. Es importante que se sepa cómo traducir Spanglish porque es muy común y es una gran parte de ambos idiomas. ¿Y qué piensas, Demi?
Sí, yo hablo Spanglish mucho, especialmente cuando comunicar con mis profesores de español y mis amigos en mis clases de español. Y un angloparlante hablo Spanglish o un hispanohablante hablan Spanglish cuando por las situaciones que son muy importantes para los por la comunicación. Por ejemplo, like las situaciones legales o let's see, I had some good ideas. Su trabajo, las finanzas, su salud con el médico o sus niños en la escuela es muy importante para that bridge to be made cuando both groups, los grupos like tienen un like good idea, like buen understanding de los de juntos y idiomas, pero it's not all the way developed. Y sí, es una ventaja para saber manejar el Spanglish, porque muchas personas usanlo para comunicar. Y Spanglish es relacionado con la translación y interpretación porque a veces es importante para comunicar las frases o palabras de like slang and like juntos lenguajes. I feel like a lot of the time there's like phrases that we say in English that like can't transfer over to Spanish very well or things like that. Rebecca, ¿qué piensa?
Well, sí, a veces me encantará usando el idioma del Spanglish. I like how though you were talking about how you use it with medical and like work and like all that, because yeah, that's like sometimes if you're trying to communicate with someone from a different culture, you're like
Yeah.
or like a cough or like best as
Mhm.
possible. Sometimes you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
got it. El hablante de inglés podría estar usando Spanglish, por ejemplo, cuando intenta comunicarse y quizás no saben totalmente una palabra que intenta usar. El Spanglish se puede utilizar en este caso para ayudar a que los demás entiendan. Lo mismo puede desearse también de un hispanohablante que utiliza Spanglish. Se puede utilizar como puente para permitir la comunicación entre dos hablantes diferentes. Las diferentes culturas. El Spanglish permite la comunicación entre dos culturas. Es un puente que permite intermercar y intentar comprender a las personas del mundo que le rodean. El Spanglish puede ser una ventaja ya que permite al usuario tener el potencial de comprender mejor las más y que le rodean. El Spanglish es útil en la interpretación y traducción, ya que permite una comprensión quizás más rápida de palabras similares or de uso común. Like I was saying, like, so like practicar and practice, like you can use Spanglish in translation to maybe like hit those target words that are faster paced because you're like thinking between the two. So it's like a bridge to get that faster and get that out to your client. Permite quizás más libertad para lograr que una audiencia objetivo más amplio comprenda el material. So like if you're trying to reach both audiences from both different cultures, how we're talking about being a bridge, it can use in translation like that. It can be that bridge so that you can reach both cultures, creating a wider audience with the material that you're using. Quizzes permite al traducir una mejor comprensión de los antecedentes del autor de el trabajar que se está traduciendo y más. So like, it's just really useful in translation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Chaz, can you give some ejemplos of Spanglish that you have used in your life de pronto in the weekly discussions?
Yeah, like a few different, definitely in our weekly discussions we use it. I also like I guess I found this more common in high school where I'd have Spanish every day, but I still find it happening in college where when I'm speaking a lot of Spanish, like I'll just come from class or I don't know, something like that. My brain is almost in like Spanish mode, and then I'll just like kind of like think in Spanish mode, and I'll like talk to other people in Spanish, or maybe not Spanish, but I'll use like a few Spanish words, and I'll just be like more. It takes me like just a little bit to get back in like the English mindset, I guess. Same, I listen to like a lot of Spanish music, and same, like listening to that kind of gets me in like this Spanish mindset. Yeah, and then same with like that's just like spoken Spanish or Spanglish. I also use it like written sometimes, like in a lot of my science classes, they go really, really fast in their like lectures, and there's a lot of Spanish words that are shorter than English words, like and is just the letter Y, or I can't think of another example. But anyway, a lot of my notes kind of don't really make sense to a lot of people because it's just like I just switch between the language based on whichever word is shorter, and then like I can read it later. But yeah. So I do that, and then trying to think. Oh yeah, and then I was just gonna say, I can definitely see why in order to become truly fluent in a language, you really gotta like surround yourself in the language. Because the few times I've been to like Mexico, even after only being there a little bit, you really start to get in like this Spanish mindset and use Spanglish like a lot more once you like surround yourself in the language, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys have?
I think that I just kind of use Spanglish all the time in my class. That's really funny that you write your notes like that.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think my parents both speak Spanish, like they both have learned it, and so I feel like at my house and stuff, they always like used random terms or phrases and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but like it wasn't very like strongly integrated of both languages. But it was still like things that I kind of picked up. Um, and then yeah, I totally know like the Spanish mode. Like I would get out of class freshman year and I'd like walk to the dining hall and I'd be like thinking of all the things in Spanish and pointing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's cool. But yeah, I think I use it a lot for Spanish classes and or if I'm just feeling like translating things or I'm like, oh, I know what that word is or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Rebecca?
So like for me, it's a couple things like so I would just like okay, so I use these phrases a lot, like no say and
Oh, same. I use that a
uh
lot.
yeah, like that and then like yo tengo sueño. Like so
Yeah.
I'll just be like talking, I'll just say those phrases. So at this point though, my dad he knows languages, but my mom doesn't know any Spanish, but she now knows what those mean. So she'll actually be speaking in English and she'll go, no say and I'm like, hey. So there's that. And then like also like you're talking about like with Mexico with me, it was like Costa Rica and Spain, like I got so used to saying things that now when I come back, like especially with like ordering food or like coffee, especially coffee, I'll be like, oh, they'll be like, oh, what do you want? I'll be like, podría tener a mocha medium, please. And they're like, what? And so it's like you kind of just go between the languages because it's just so hard to be like just even just reading it. I'm like, okay, switching between the languages, like
Hmm.
reading the questions. I'm like, okay, having trouble here because you when you have to like consciously do it, it's like kind of harder. But when you're unconsciously just speaking, you just go between the two, like
Mhm.
straight up, like using it with family. You're trying to like explain things to family too. It's like it can be used as like we were talking about the bridge, like if I'm trying like they don't understand how it like goes from English to Spanish or Spanish to English, you can kind of use this Spanglish to be like, okay, do you understand it this way? And they're like, oh. So like again, it like I can use it to, like in my everyday life to connect the two cultures. And like even in the weekly discussions, like we were even talking about like in this video, like we're you can see like in the video we're just switching between the two.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That that's fun. I do that a lot too, where I just like, especially with common phrases and expressions, um, like I'll just say to someone like "listo" or something like that, and they'll be like, "What?" And like I just think that like that's like it's mostly just really basic Spanish, and I just like think that most people like I use it in text a lot when I'm texting people. I'll just say like "donde," and then when people are like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, how do you not know what that means?" And like,
Or like you say K and they're like, oh yeah.
yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly.
no, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hmm.
Good
Yeah.
chat, guys.
Nice.
Yeah, good chat.
Okay,
Yeah.
so